Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Bryson. I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about this console, which if you go to Faith Promise and are watching these videos as a resource that we've made for our winning team members or our volunteers, this is what we have at our Pellissippi Campus. If you're just watching to watch, hi, welcome, glad to have you. This is the Avolites Sapphire Touch, and I'm going to be going over how we use it, where the buttons are that you might be seeing in other videos that we're creating at the moment. And I'm just going to give you a little overview of the console and how we use it. And yeah, let's get at it. All right, so I have a couple shots right here. I'm going to show you generally how we use everything. So if we look, so the console has a ton of motorized faders. We've got 15 down here on the bottom and 30 up top here. I will show you kind of how we use all of those. And first things first, I'm going to pull down these house lights so that we can see the screens. So typically on a weekend when you get here, everything will be set up in the console. You just have to find the weekend master page. Right now I'm on 2 weeks out. I build these 2 to 3 weeks out at the moment. I'm about a week ahead. But if you come here in these songs, which are on these playbacks right here, pre-experience, praise, believe for it, you'll be saved. Like if those don't look correct, use these page buttons. They're right here and you can go page down and you can see the page name changes in the gray behind it. So now I'm on 1 week out, and then this is weekend master. This is where things will normally live. However, right now I don't have the correct weekend in there, but we'll just go to a week that we did a couple weeks ago. And so songs will always live on these bottom 15 faders. And really and truly, we don't even use all 15. The way that we have it set up is that this is kind of like your show flow. So like if we were to look on Planning Center, all of these would be our show flow. This is always going to be our wash, number 15. If per se there would happen to be a second wash for a special event, it would be on number 14. So those live right there. Other things to note, if we go up to our second row of faders on the top here, we've got a few things that are very important. We've got Pastor Wash is up here in the top left corner, fader number 1. And then we also have fader number 16 is the house dimmer. So if I pull this up, the house lights will pull up and down. So this is your main house lights, and it's made so that the top of that fader is never too much for the room. So that's right there. I'm gonna pull that down just for the video's sake. And then to the left of this, we have a house color. It's like white or a warm white, and then we have white. And then this one called All the Lights is more like an emergency. It turns everything up really bright and white. And we won't use that on a Sunday, but per chance there's an emergency situation where everybody needs to get out and be able to be seen, that's when you would pull that up. The other things are not super important, except for over here on fader number 29 and 30, we have the ASL light. So when we have a sign language interpreter that will pull up a light in the room, I can show that on a cutaway. It's so that they can talk and be seen without having the house lights up. So we can have the house lights down and they have their own light, and that can stay on the whole time. So essentially, fader number 29, it can just stay up the whole time. Fader number 30 is a new thing that I've been working on. It controls the LED wall brightness. I will create a whole video on how this console controls the LED wall at Pellissippi specifically, and for other people who may be watching and want to know. So that's there. And yeah, so that's the basics of where everything's at. There's also a few buttons over here that you might need. So when you turn the console on, this button, light power, turns on, and it stays on the whole time. And basically what this does, it controls the power to several of our moving lights on stage that might be hard to get to if you need to power cycle them for some reason. So our wash lights, let me turn these on right here. So you can see those on your screen. When those turn on, on occasion, they need to be restarted, just like your TV would at home or something like that. And so what we do, instead of getting on the lift or having somebody climb up there, God forbid, climb up into the ceiling and power cycle that light, what you do is you just push this button, and as you can see, almost all the lights turn off. And when we push this back on, now they're going to power cycle and all turn back on. You may or may not be able to see their numbers blinking in that room shot, but from the console, we can see their DMX numbers on their screen blinking, which means that they're restarting, which is a good thing. You might need that. Hey, video editing Bryson here. I completely forgot to mention the baptism light button. It's button number 20. You'll see it in this shot. I just don't talk about it at all. So if you push that, that will turn on the baptism light, and if you push it again, it'll turn it off. I recommend pushing it before service just to check that and make sure it works. But otherwise, there's nothing complicated about that. I just want to mention that it is there, and that's where you turn on the baptism light if per se we have a baptism in service. So back to other Bryson. So anyway, while those restart, there's also this other button over here, which you will need. This is the haze on and off button right here. So if the light's off like that, then the haze is off. If I click it on, then the haze is on. I've been running it for a second, so I'll leave it on for just a little bit longer. And all the other buttons you don't really need to know. There is this family room button right here, which I'm just gonna move my camera over here. If I turn that on, that turns the family room on. More than likely you won't have to touch that, but if somebody asks you for it, that's where it's at. The other thing is, when the console turns on, that light power will turn on, the haze won't, so you'll have to turn that on manually. And there's a few things that will turn themselves on whenever you get in here. It is all the lights, the hosting, and pastor wash, which is up here. So typically anything that has a little power symbol behind it, that means that it turns on when the console turns on. Getting your console set for a weekend, what I do is I double click release, which is right in the center here, double click release. That releases everything except for light power, because it's got some special commands on it that allows it to not turn off. And now we're in the dark. And so essentially that allows you to set your service how you want. So like I can pull up my house fader here on number 16, and then I can also pull up my like pre-experience and hit go. And so now I'm looking at what I need to be looking at to start a service, and I can turn my haze on and all that good stuff. Both of these screens, they are touch screens. So you can touch them and manipulate things on there just with your finger. They are a little bit old of a touch screen, so you kind of have to like really dig into it. You can't like lightly touch and it work like that. You have to push. So you can do that. If you want to use the mouse, as you can see, I'm using the trackball right here. It has a left and a right click. When you come to the console, it's turned off. So let me turn that off real quick. It won't turn on until you push these two buttons right here. So it's the left click and the sign button. You click that right there, and you see how it says mouse right there. That'll turn on the mouse so that you will be able to use it. Now that I've gone over where everything is generally on the console, let's talk about how we run a service. So operating terms. And there will be a video on the Titan Go interface, the computer interface, like where I shoot all my other videos, of how we operate a service on there. But when you have physical faders, everything works just slightly different. And mostly because you have 10 fingers. On a computer, you might only be able to manipulate 2 things at once because of a touch screen. On a console, you want to be able to pull up something and hit go at the same time. So I'm gonna get another shot of this real quick. So typically what I do, my left hand is right here whenever I'm making a transition. So let's just say I'm going out of pre-experience into the first cue of praise. So I'm not gonna be able to show this perfectly because I still have to hold my phone, but you wanna go up on whatever you're going to, hit go. This makes a transition for you, and then pull down where you were coming from. And then also you want to pull up your wash as someone starts to talk. This is something that we go over in Infuse, so nobody talks or sings in the dark, so washes are very important. But if you're just making a song transition, so let me get back here, you pull up the next one, hit go, and then pull down the one that you were on. And what this does is it allows everything to fade correctly. And you can see that in the room shot as well. So let's do that again. We're gonna go just from praise into believe for it. And I know I'm not on the end cue, but we'll just pretend like I am. I'm on the end of this song. And then whenever I go up and then I hit go and pull down on the one before it. So I'm gonna back up just a hair so I can do that real quick again. So we are on the second song, or the first song, which is Praise, right out of Pre-Experience. And we are gonna go up on the next song, hit go, and go down on the other song. Nice and easy, smooth fade. All this is going to be built for you, so I build it as if you're doing that. If you don't do this, everything's gonna look real weird. And it's not a horribly bad thing to pull, let's say you do this, where you pull this down and then you go up on the next one. It just leaves a second of black, and if your wash is on, it looks worse. So let me show you that in the room shot. So this is up, and then I pull one down, and then I pull the next one up and hit go. It's just, it leaves like half a second to a second of black on the stage, and it just looks weird. So please pull the next one up, hit go, pull the last one down. And then you go through the songs like this. Wash is not programmed into any song, so praise, believe for it, you will be saved, all those are songs, and then we'll be on your run sheet as so, or PCO. Hosting, however, does have wash programmed into it. So I always say when you get to hosting, the pastor wash will pull itself up, and let me show that again. So I'm gonna go pull back real quick, and say we're in a song, you will be found or whatever, and when I pull up my hosting and I hit the go button, all of these things come up. So my pastor wash, my house color, and trying to get it focused, and the pastor or the hosting colors, which are up here. You don't have to worry about these. It's more so for my sake. When I'm programming, I put all the colors up here and it just auto loads. Auto loading is essentially where a queue or a queue list is set to pull up another queue. So when a fader snaps on like that, it's pulling something up. So in this case, if you look at the room shot and I'm pulling the pastor wash up and down, well, you're not gonna see anything. I forgot to turn off my wash. So you do wanna turn that off as you get into hosting so that the transitions work correctly. But when you pull that up, that'll come up, and you pull that down, it'll come down. So essentially the console is just pulling something up for you because you don't have that many fingers. You do have some, but not that many. All right, and so that's that. And then the next one, message, pulls up a separate set of colors and faders. You don't necessarily have to know what all of those are. If you wanna know, ask me. I'll let you know. And yeah, so we're just going through all of these, right like that. And we go up. If you see me clicking the gray button at the top, that is the same thing as hitting go. So like, let's see. If I hit go right here, it's like firing the cues within that cue list. Hitting the gray button, not hitting go. It does the same thing as hitting this button. So focus. It does the same thing as hitting the go button, as you can see right here. Okay, the last thing I want to explain is how to move or how to place workspace windows on the screens. So let's talk about that real quick. When you get in here, all the windows on screen, they'll be in different places, but I have a few presets, and those are called workspaces. Let me show you on my phone right quick. Okay. So over here on the left side, you can see workspaces. So workspaces, they're like preset ways that the windows are aligned right here. And so let me pull these house lights down so we don't have that glare there. I have Bryson Design and Operator New. Those are the two ones that you probably should be using. So Design is where I'm building lights. It puts my cue list over here on the right side, and it gives me availability to grab all the lights and work on them. So if I click on a cue list and then I look over here, this shows me all the cues from this cue list. It says you will be saved, and they're all right there. However, a lot of my operators, and even me too, I like seeing this a lot bigger on my left screen. So on this workspace right here called Operator New, you just click on that and it moves all the windows around. So now I have a really big cue view window right here, or playback view window. And I can see all my cues from my cue list right there. And whenever I'm in that song and I'm going through here, it'll show me that as well. So how you pull that up is we have to click, or with our finger or with a mouse, on the soft handle of the song. So like you press the song that you want to see and it'll show you that. So Praise You Anywhere, Believe for it, it'll show you that, or You Will Be Saved, it'll show you that whenever I click on it like that. So like per se, you're going from pre-experience, and like the first song is Praise You Anywhere, and you don't really need to see the pre-experience. You just go ahead and click on Praise You Anywhere. There is down here, I might have talked to you in training about what is connected. So whenever you pull up a fader, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna pull up the Praise You Anywhere fader. When I pull that up, it connects Praise You Anywhere cue list. That's essentially, this little panel down here is always gonna be here, it never moves. It tells you whenever what you're going to next, what's connected. So you see it says Connected Cue List 514 Praise You Anywhere. It's a little blurry. Sorry, I'm trying to get that better. Okay, and then when I hit go, you can see it fires that and it fades it in. And you can see that in the room as well. Sometimes it happens that this console is a little finicky, and it might happen to all consoles of this type, but I'm just gonna rake my fingers across the faders like this, not push anything up, just rake it. And sooner or later, it will connect something that I'm not trying to, oh, see, there you go. It connected the message right there. So sometimes you accidentally bump a fader, it'll connect something, and that's not what you want to be on. So you can see the faders are not even up. It's this one right here. I just accidentally bumped it and it connected it. So right above your go button, we have a few extra buttons that are beneficial. If we want to reconnect something, we hit this Connect Cue button. If I click that and then click the blue button or the soft handle of whatever song I want to be on, so I click the blue button, then it'll connect the correct song here. And that's very useful. You want to be watching this a lot of the time of what you're connected to. So I tell people that I'm training, please be aware of what cue you're on. You can be on this screen, but also be looking at this one down here. Because if you're not looking at this one, then really and truly you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's connected in the console. And as long as you don't touch the faders while you're playing a song, really and truly this issue won't happen. A lot of the times this happens if you rest your left hand over here, like if you rested on these faders, it just happened again. See, I just tapped that message right there, and now it looks like it's on and it connected it. So what I do is I hit Connect Cue, and I go over here, hit the blue button on Praise You Anywhere, bam, and now I'm connected again, and I'm good to go. So long story short, don't rest your hands right here, and know how to connect there. If something happens like this, where you see like messages lit up, the lights lit up a little bit, just be aware of, you can pull this up and then back down to kill it, or you can hit the release button and then click the blue button of whatever you want to release, and it'll pull it away. If you do this number right here where you pull up and then back down, it'll reconnect that again, and then you'll have to connect and hit the blue button. I know that's complicated, and I hope that this little hands video shows you enough to let you see it well. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to tell you is the previous and next steps buttons right here. So we can see those are above the connect cue, the stop button, they're right here. These buttons are good for if we need to skip in a song. So like if I hit next step, it won't fire a cue, but it'll tell me where I'm going to next. And you can see that here as I'm on cue number 2, verse with a 3-second fade, but I'm going to cue number 6. It's like the light gray, build it up with a 5-second fade. You can also see that here on your bigger playback view, verse, cue number 2, verse, and then I'm going to cue number 6. So when I hit go, it'll fade to that build it up. And sometimes like in a song, we might go off track and we need to skip to the end, or maybe in a run through, you need to skip to the end of a song because we're doing tips and tails or something like that. Very beneficial, those buttons right there. And yeah, that's pretty much all the buttons you need to know. And I'll just kind of show a general overview of where everything is right here. So this is your trackball. This over here, we have previous and next step, go. Those are buttons that you'll hit a lot. If you need to type a number in, the keypad's here. We also have a keyboard off to the right side if you need to type in any names or anything like that. I explained all these buttons. The rest of the buttons are for programming. I'll have a separate video on programming on this console. For right now, everything is programmed by me at Pellissippi, and y'all will just run it. But I do want to have winning team members programming in the future. So if you're interested in that, please let me know, and I will get on to training you in that way. So that was a console overview of the Avolites Sapphire Touch that we have here at the Faith Promise Pellissippi Campus. If you're a trainee, thank you for going through this process. I understand that this looks difficult. I get it. It did look intimidating to me the first time that I saw this. And I had even had some training in Avolites at that point in time. Please bear with me. I will give you all the help that you need, or somebody else will. I would love to train up somebody on how to program. So if you want to do that, please let me know. I'll get you all the training that you need and all the resources that you need. But I understand that it's hard to learn if you're not the one programming it. As a rule of thumb, I always program my songs off of the resources that we have on Planning Center. So reference the word sheet, reference the woodshed, and reference the click track itself. The click track is in woodshed, so you really don't have to reference it by itself. But typically a cue fire, or when you hit go, hit the go button, that's always going to be on when the click track says like chorus 2, 3, 4, and then the 1 that it doesn't say right after that. So chorus 2, 3, 4, 1. That 1 is when you hit go. So it would be chorus 2, 3, 4, 1. That's when I would hit go. And for the most part, everything is named right off the click track or right off the word sheet. For a verse, a chorus, a bridge. Sometimes the click track will say build it up or tag. Those are typical calls. if something's really complicated, I will let you know, or the producer will let you know. Don't be afraid about that. Again, I feel like I was saying don't be afraid a lot. You'll get the hang of it. It's all a flow thing, and once you understand how worship songs flow, it's really quite easy to understand when I'm supposed to hit go. It's always on the change of a feel of song. So yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for putting the time in to learn and grow in your craft. And in this case, the craft is lighting. And it's a great way that we connect the people who are in this room to learn and love God how to do that. And it helps facilitate worship in that way. So just remember, nobody would see what's happening on stage if you're not the one to pull up this wash finger. It sounds a little corny, but you're the one facilitating worship in that way. So thank you for everything you do. Please watch the other training videos. I know they're on the computer, but hopefully this gives a little bit of context on where buttons are, button placement, what you can do with those buttons, and how to manipulate things on screen. This is a great console. It's a great thing to learn on. So I'm so glad that you're in this to win. So thank you so much. I'll see you later.